Zimbabwean farmers faring now? Are they able to produce and feed the nation right now?
Oh, very interesting question. Very interesting question. Obviously, like any process, when we started with the transition, people had to go onto the land that they have not been. They had to start setting themselves out. They had to capacitate themselves. But like I said, the number of young people that are on land, and not large tracts of land, because government has made sure that at least whatever land you are given, you should be able to work on it. You should be able to prove that you are able to produce. So we have a lot of young people who are doing amazing things. In fact, we have surpassed our targets for wheat, and we will have no need to import the importation of wheat this time around. Our only challenge, and the president just issued what we call a national disaster around issues of food security, because we need to do it so that we can internally also as government, when you have made that declaration, or the president has made that declaration, it facilitates for one to ferment certain resources that would have prioritized within the budget to other things. So for example, if your budget had said we were going to build 10 other roads, because you now have a disaster in terms of food security, because obviously, yes, roads are important and other things are important, but the ultimate important thing is you can have roads and not have people. Because if your people are dying of hunger, surely you can have the best infrastructure in the world, but with no people. So we prioritize people. So it facilitates, it allows, so that declaration, national disaster declaration, I know sometimes it's perceived differently, because it's perceived as, oh, now you want a begging bow. Yes, of course. We are saying to people, we have a problem, who'd like help. But it's also an internal mechanism to facilitate a different way of looking at your budget, because we would have agreed that the budget will do with so much in this area. And then when you go into this crisis, you have to change your priorities to look at the crisis that would have been there. So the challenge is more because of the issues of climate change, and it goes back to my earlier conversation, you remember, where I said for us as an embassy, it's issues of technology. For us as an embassy, it's issues of renewable energy. We are the most dammed country, so we have so many dams in Zimbabwe. What we don't have is the capacity to get those dams to produce energy, to get those dams to irrigate, so that if we do not have rains like we did now, we know that our fallback position is that we will still be able to use our dams to do the things that we would want to do. So this is why for us as an embassy, it's the most urgent thing for us to do. We need the necessary technology, we need renewable energy, because we understand that climate change is a real issue, and droughts are going to be coming in and out, and we need to be prepared. But otherwise, capacity in the farms, the skills in the farms, the labor, the wanting to work and to produce, that there is absolutely no doubt. And we are also calling on investors that want to partner, both with government, at government level, but with individuals, in order to make sure that we are more efficient and can produce more, not only for ourselves, but for the region.
Let me ask this question in case, because so some investors feel like, okay, what we are looking for here is a big investor that's going to power the whole country. Are there rooms for smaller investors, like say, I want to concentrate on regions, instead of one autonomous investor that say, okay, now I have the rights for electricity over all the country. Can you expatiate on that?
Okay, we actually have a framework that facilitates for what we are calling the independent power producers. Our government has actually created a statutory instrument that provides for how we can operate. So you can come in as Victor and you say, I have a real estate. Like, I'll tell you that last week we're actually having a virtual conversation with a group of people here who are in hydrogen, renewable energy or hydrogen. And what they are looking at is to deal with real estates, for example, a gated community with 50 households. And you all get together and you get into renewable energy of hydrogen. And you provide for the 50.
Yes.
And they could come to the 50 households and say, you know what, if you give me $100,000, I'm able to give you a hydrogen plant that can power your 50 households. And each of you contribute a certain amount of money, and you have your hydrogen station. So that would mean $2,000 per household. And you have invested in something. You don't have to be on the grid. We take it out of the grid. In fact, what is worse now, if you have extra energy that you are producing, you can actually sell it to the grid. So you can actually make money because you are doing extra. Solar parks, for example. This is why I'm saying one of the things is to try and do a solar park. I had a delegation from Parliament, and one of the things they are looking at doing is to green our entire Parliament. Because both symbolically and realistically, they are saying we have a beautiful Parliament, but we want to make sure that that Parliament is off the grid, and it has to be powered renewable. So we are looking at companies here who are able to do either an energy mix where they have wind, because it's set up in one of part of it's going to be our new cyber city, but there's a lot of wind. We can have wind turbines, we can have solar, we can look at issues of hydrogen. So our own Parliament is one project that an investor can look at. You can have we are planning to open up a factory, a solar heating factory with a company here called Absolicon. And one of the things they're going to do is, because we are very big in mining, we are big in tea, and they are capacitating our utility company, for example, to be able to produce what they call solar collectors. The robotics is the newest technology that is there. So you find that the beverages, for example, beverages company will not need to be powered by fossils. They will be done by solar heating. So that is just a project. So you don't have to do one massive project. You can do small projects, and and the market is there. It's such a low-hanging fruit for anybody who wants to make money.
Yes, you just mentioned mining, because I was going to go there. Mining is very big in Zimbabwe. How open is the market for new investors?
Oh, it is. My president always jokes and says, Zimbabwe, for every place you put your step on, your feet on, there is something underground. Our only challenge is that we have not had the technical capacity to understand just how much of this is on the ground, how much wealth we have on the ground. But I cannot imagine any province in Zimbabwe where you can't get gold. Not one. You get gold either by the river bank, you get gold in any other place. So if somebody is wanting to go into gold, the claims are there, you partner, and we want to value add. What we are wanting to avoid in Zimbabwe is for people to come and take out the minerals, because they are a finite product. They will finish. So the idea is, if you come in, yes, we are able to partner, yes, you are able to mine, but we want you to value add, so that when it comes out of the country, you have value added, you have created the necessary employment.
Yes.
So platinum, lithium, we have the best lithium in the world. I can proudly say that. I can tell you that. We have the best lithium in the world.
Okay.
And you know that's the direction we are going. If we are talking about renewable energy, you need to find a place in the battery in which you can store it. Otherwise, it will be there, but when you need it, when the sun is not there, when you need it, when the water tables are not moving as fast, you need to store that energy in batteries. And we know that lithium is the one that drives the batteries. I'm sure in the next 5 or so years, the world would have moved from petrol or diesel cars to electric cars.
Definitely.
And lithium is going to play a big role in that area. You know that already one of the things we are struggling with as embassies here is that Sweden has made a decision that by December they are not going to be allowing any car that is not electric. Even if it is a hybrid, they are not going to allow it. So that's where the world is moving to, and that's where we are all going to be moving to. And so, that is going to be the market for a lot of people. So yeah, there is a lot of lithium, and like I'm saying, very good lithium in Zimbabwe.
And then the tourism sector of the country is a given. It's
given. It's given. We have, I'm always talking to you about our big five.
Big five.
So yeah, we do have the big five in Zimbabwe. We've been able to maintain and sustain our forestries. We've been able to sustain in a big way our ecosystem. So you go to our parks, you find a lot of animals. In fact, we are actually struggling with managing animals and humans. So if you go to Victoria Falls, for example, our biggest challenge is how do we sustain the conflict that is now existing between our elephants and our people, because elephants are all over the place.
Wow.
So yeah.
I think we had a similar.
And Victoria Falls, of course.
Yes,
Victoria Falls.
Yes.
7 wonders of the world.
Yes. And we had a similar case of the elephants and the people in Botswana. So is this, are there any solutions? Because a lot of animal rights activists want to say, don't disturb our elephants.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we understand where they're coming from. So we don't minimize, we don't think that the animal activists are wrong. We understand that it is genuine, it is proper, but you have to create a balance, because at the same level, just like there would be animal rights, there are also human rights. You can't tell me that it is okay for me to sit back and watch babies and kids being trampled upon by elephants, and it's justifiable, and culling becomes unjustifiable. So I think there is need for reaching a compromise, and we have offered that for those that would want us to sell them these animals, we are very happy to get into a trading arrangement where those that have been able to sustain and maintain the level of ecosystem that these kind of animals need, we surely will be very happy to move, to have a whole movement of this. I mean, I go to some of the zoos here. I'll tell you that I took my nephew who had visited me to one of the zoos here, and he was excited when we were going. And then when we had gone around, he then looked at me and he says, "Auntie, this is not a zoo." So I said, "What it is?" He says, "It's a farm." because he saw sheep, goat, chicken.
It's a domestic animals.
Yes, domestic animals. But I understand because here a lot of those animals have been lost over years, and we have kept ours. So I think we have always said that let's understand each other, let's respect each other, and understand where we are coming from. We are not fools. We can't be sitting today and wanting to destroy a whole heritage that has taken generations and generations to keep. But I think we find it a bit we find it a bit problematic when people speak to us as if we do not have brains, and we have to be told what to do, because if we are not told certain rules to follow, we will mess up. Surely if we could mess up, we would not be having many of the people leaving their countries to come and visit our World Park. You come and visit because we've done a good job. So appreciate that. We certainly know what we are doing. So yeah.